Race 5, beginning of the late pick 5. Scratch the 1A, Kara's Daydreamer. Rider change on the 7, Temperamental, make it Trevor McCarthy. Scratch the 13, Lady of Thornton. Scratch the 14, Big Bean, Christine. Race 6, start of the late pick 4, no changes. Race 7, scratch the 5, Wonder Where Craig Is. Race 8, rider change on the 5, Sugar Ray 2, make it Trevor McCarthy. And in race 9, scratch the 10, Rush to Honor. Rider change on the 11, Addicted to You, make it He-Man Harkey. Those are your early scratches and changes for live racing at Aqueduct. The track is fast. Coming up, it'll be Talking Horses with your hosts, Maggie Wolfendale and the Big A, Anthony Stabile.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talking Horses on this Sunday, the last race day before we go on break, December 19th. I'm Maggie Wolfendale alongside Anthony Stabile, otherwise known as Magany.
What's happening, everyone? This is a very important anniversary in my wagering history, Max.
Oh boy, going in the time vault.
Now one of our placing judges, Chris DiCarlo.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
okay.
got me the Christmas money 25 years ago today with Carsey's pal in the last race from Mike Freeman. Do you remember Mike Freeman?
Nope.
Mike Freeman, Willard Freeman in the program. Mike, we knew him as Mike. Carsey's pal in the last race. I was broke before the 6th race.
Yeah.
I had one of my Christmas angels lay a $40 bill on me, hit the 6th race exacta. I was broke before the 6th. I walked out of here with $5,000 after the 9th.
Well, you weren't broke anymore.
I was not broke anymore. No, Carsey's pal went, I believe, 26.80, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Well, very good. You have some memory for wagers, that's for sure. We do have two features today, the Gravesend and the Queens County. We did see a serious defection in that Gravesend with Wonder Where Craig Is. It was tweeted a couple days ago, I believe by Dave Redding. I
believe Dave reported it first, yes.
And that he was going to be out, as Brittany Russell, his trainer, told. So maybe opening things up a little bit in that race.
Yeah, it changed things a little bit for me, having done the race a few days ago, and then he comes out. Yeah, changed things a little bit.
Well, we want to wish Manny Franco a happy birthday, as well as I need to wish my mom a happy birthday, too.
Rick Schosberg.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Rick Schosberg.
There's a lot of racing. Audrey, who works for the Jockey Club now, it's her birthday today as well. And Angela has been at one of the bars here for about 25 years.
Yeah.
And she believes that she's in long shots now. It's her birthday as well. There were like 7 notifications. Jeff Siskin, an owner, it's his birthday as well. There was a lot of birthdays today.
There are a lot.
Yeah.
So your Facebook was lighting up.
Lighting up, yeah, like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Appropriately.
Well, we do, as always, encourage everyone, if you don't have an account, make sure you sign up for one.
It's a great birthday present right
there.
It
is, yeah. Maybe I should
give
my
yourself.
Mom one.
Yeah.
If you're a new member, use promo code BONUS200. Check out NYRABets.com. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. And also, if you're already a member too, you can take advantage of the $20 bonus. Bet 50 at Aqueduct Fairgrounds and Oaklawn and get $20 back, win or lose. Make sure you
opt in. We have some promos, by the way, throughout the week, even though we're not racing the next 9-10 days, there's plenty of promos available. So just keep an eye on the promo calendar over at Naira Bets.
And speaking of Oaklawn, we will have coverage from there on America's Day at the races. Gary Stevens is our man on the scene there. We start at 2:30 on FS2 and run to 5:30 with obviously coverage here at Aqueduct as well. So let's jump into the card. Race number 1, maiden 40 for the New York bred. Fillies 3 and up, 6 furlongs, and we see a serious favorite on the outside. Neither you or I feeling that strongly, though, about You Should Be Dancing, who riders still TBA last time I checked.
Besides the fact that it is a fantastic Bee Gees song, and she's okay on the turf, her dirt form is absolutely abysmal. Now,
Correct.
The other problem I have with her is,
Manny Franco
and it's the
picking
birthday
up.
boy.
Yep.
So there you go, Manny
So Louis
Franco.
Sai is not here today. I guess with the scratch of wonder where Craig is, he's not here.
So my bigger problem with her, besides the fact that her dirt form is abysmal, is now her turf form seems to be tailing off.
And 2, she ran with an extension blinker. I mean, Rudy is the king of extension blinkers, and sometimes they work for him. I mean, you look at Scuttlebuzz, and that's kind of really changed his life
Has
around.
really
But for the
turned his life
majority,
around, yeah.
I don't love to see it, and she was wearing one last time. She's not for me. I mean, look at her last 2 dirt races, beaten 24 lengths,
Look at all of
beaten
her dirt
46
races.
lengths, and early on she did begin her career on the dirt. They don't even make her a legitimate player here. I went, excuse me, with the drop down, number 7, Fancy Feline, who obviously You Should Be Dancing to drop down too, for the Bond Barn. They actually have decent numbers with their maiden claiming 2 maiden special, is a very niche stat here, on the dirt with New York breds, 5 for 21, so 25% for them. Positive ROI.
Yeah, I didn't want the runners. The tepid selection in here. It's very.
You and the Lugovic first.
It's hard to get excited about anything in here.
Wowzers. I
A
mean,
steady, if not spectacular, bunch of half-mile drills down at Fair Hill. I just wanted a fresh little face here. Bank Statement, the other first of number 5, was just a little too slow for me to really endorse. So I took the first that's working a little faster out of town, and used her with the 2 logical horses running. Like I said, there are a lot better opportunities on this card today, I can tell you that.
I just, as far as pedigree with the Lugovic Firster, yes, by Big Brown, that says a little bit more distance, that says turf, and on the bottom,
crypto
if there's
clearance, man.
anything, there really wasn't much production. If there's anything, it's going to be longer or on the turf.
It's an absolute stab. I fully admit it's an absolute stab. It's just so hard to endorse anybody that's running here.
I mean, you would think that possibly the Kelly Breen horse coming back is going to take money, but showed up maiden 25, took some money that day, but just a virtually eased effort going a mile first time out.
11 months, mile first time out for the bottom.
Right.
Now the horse, I'm as big a Kelly Breen fan as there is. I couldn't do it.
Race number 2, claiming 25, 6 furlongs, and we saw a few defections in here. I don't know about you, but a lot of my selections came out here.
Yeah.
I was really interested in Violent Point for Linda Rice. Of course, Linda scratches her. So I, kind of chalked it out here and went with number 6, Customer Experience. That's who you have on top. At the end of the day, the majority of her races are faster than these, as we'll check out her effort 2 back, which was a win up at Saratoga. Her biggest hurdle, though, Anthony, is the fact that she doesn't have that much early speed. But we are looking at a filly too that in her last race I thought you could forgive her because she was completely against the racetrack, chasing wide, spun a top, wired the field on the rail that day. It just makes her the horse to beat. But like I said, the only thing that gets her in trouble is maybe her lack of early speed.
Yeah, and going 3/4, that could be a problem. She used to have some speed going longer.
Right.
But it really has seemed to eluded her, and it's eluded her for a while now, right, Maggie? It's been 7-8 months where she comes out of there. She doesn't come out of there flat-footed, but you kind of feel like she opens herself up to some trouble at the beginning of her races too, because she does not get away from there as cleanly as she used to.
Right.
Ordinarily, that's not a great sign. She's only a 4-year-old though, so I don't think it's starting to get into your head that it's a behavioral thing. It's just, she's got the yips right now coming out of the starting gate. But the fact that she's lost her speed, it makes her a little vulnerable. This was another instance though where, to me, unless you thought Quality Stones, and we'll take a look at Quality Stones, unless you thought Quality Stones, and now with the scratches in here, OK Honey, namely, and Violent Point, those are 2 big scratches for Quality Stones, because if she was going to face any pressure, it was going to come from one or both of the fillies that are now out of here.
Yeah.
And now she could be gone on the front end.
Absolutely. I just, she did take pressure, though the horse that was in front won that race up at Finger Lakes. And at the end of the day, she just looks, at this point in her career, a little bit cheaper than some of the others in here that might be getting a little classy.
She absolutely does. But when we talk about customer experience and how her lack of speed hurts her, this filly...
She's loose.
She's loose.
Well, number 2, Bejewel, we're both a little bit interested in. My 4th choice in here would be the 5 as well. My apologies there. But Bejewel, she does predominantly look a bit more like a turf sprinter, fair. But I think Pat Reynolds did a great job with her. But Gustavo picking her up here. And she does have some go-back dirt races against tougher fields that make her kind of a player here.
I think my problem with her is her faster races on dirt come with some moisture in the track, right? And she's run a couple of high 70s,
I really can't believe we're labeled
mid-70s.
fast.
I'm sorry?
It seemed as though it was raining a lot more at my house.
And maybe there is some residual moisture in there. That would probably help her cause, but overall, she's turned into a decent enough little turf sprinter. But yeah, I mean, she would be one. She'd be one you'd be foolish not to mention in here after the scratches. Like I said, I stuck with the customer experience pick. But man, Quality Stones is going to be in front of these horses, and she's supposed to be in front a very, very long way. I'm going to use the 4 and the 6 and the early pick 4 and early pick 5 and hope to move the chains.
Did you think that speed was an advantage yesterday?
It was yesterday kind of played, I don't want to say it played weird, but there were a couple of big performances, right? Namely Yo Cuz, who, and I think her performance is probably,
Enhanced?
it's probably enhanced by the fact that she was last in her first race, and yesterday all of a sudden she's 3 in front when the gate opens.
Yeah.
Look, I'm always going to be someone who thinks you want to be more forward than out the back anyway. But yeah, I mean, I guess
But the horses from the back were running on.
Yeah.
It just seemed as though you couldn't really, really motor home.
I don't think you wanted to be inside yesterday. That was
Yeah,
the
it felt
thing.
like that
I felt
too.
like it was more of an outside track.
Okay. All right, something to look into in today's card. As race number 3, it's going a mile on the main track for the New York bred fillies and mares here, the optional 45 tag. And we're kind of going in different directions. I did go with Making Sense here.
I believe it's Jorge Vargas, by the way.
Yes, it is Jorge Vargas. You went with the outside runner, Frost Me. What did you she finished behind Courageous Girl, who, yes, actually comes out of the Courageous Girl ran in the same race that Making Sense did, but she only got a 69 for that effort, and so she kind of regressed a little bit. Frost Me, she's just had so many stops and starts in her career, Anthony, for me.
I think if you pick her form apart, though, a little bit, right? Debut was the first 3 races are really nice. Then she catches a muddy track. She didn't really handle the mud well. She tried the turf. She came back off that layoff sprinting. I think the one thing that has kind of been established now by the fact that she debuted at a mile and a 16th and didn't race at a distance less than a mile until that return from the April layoff, which certainly looked like a race that John Kimmel was just putting into her. She's a filly that wants some ground. And I think now, and the starts and stops do bother me, but she's drawn outside. I think she'll be more forward than she was 2 back. I think she'll be in a comparable spot to the spot she was in last time. And Making Sense as if you think Making Sense is the horse to beat, right?
I don't know. I think people might fall for the honey money.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm a big Honey Money fan. I made a lot of money with Honey Money this year. I don't know if I want her going a mile, but
That's my problem.
What Honey Money is going to do
Is go.
is put a hurting on Making Sense early, because Making Sense's best races are when she is able to control.
But she's drawn outside of her. I think she just sits in that comfortable position, stalking Honey Money. Now maybe Honey Money does run well on the stretch out. An eloquent speaker who finished in front of her did return with a win in a subpar yet open allowance race and earned a 77 buyer for that effort. I just really have my doubts about Honey Money getting the distance, and I just thought that Making Sense has that enough early pace to keep her company. She's coming out of better races. I mean, Caramel Swirl Amendment 19 in that Saratoga effort, and she's had a very interrupted campaign with little success, or little, I don't want to say little running, because I thought last time she was forced into dueling in between horses, just never in a comfortable position. She kind of threw in the towel. And I'm just wondering if getting outside, getting to a distance where she's been successful at in the past, makes her a little bit more comfortable and gets back in against New York breds.
You know,
at times, she's shown an ability to be a legitimate player in this field.
You know what her other obstacle, for the lack of a better term, is? What does Pendolino do? Because if you're right, and maybe she gets in the clear, if Pendolino puts a little pressure on as well early, kind of puts her right back in that between the speeds, right? Mixing up between horses, between Honey Money to her inside and Pendolino to her outside. So we'll see what she does. I just liked everything about Frost Me's races. Number one, with the Lasix too. I think she's a little bit better with the Lasix, and I just think she stacks up outside of the other speed in here. I think she's the true mile kind of horse in here. Not that Making Sense is it, but I just think Making Sense is in a tough spot again. So
I thought Vienna Code ran really well in her last race, tracking the speed 3 to 4 wide. The winner saved the ground the whole way. We both had her in here. She did have to steady late when Perfect Grace kind of drifted into her path. I don't think she was ever going to end up necessarily second there, but still did have to steady. So I thought she was in pretty good form as well for lower profile connections.
I thought Opona's Dream had a little chance in here as well, she was able to make up some ground off a moderate pace last time. I think it's got to heat up a little bit more in here. She looks like a kind of filly that's just been getting better as she matured through her 3-year-old year, and maybe she can come running for a piece of this. She's going to be lost in the shuffling. I know she won. People like to bet horses off wins, but she'll probably be all of that 9-2, 5-1 in here.
All right, as race number 4 kicks off, the Pick 6. It's a mile on the main track, non-too light for 25. We did see the plain one scratch out of here. The 1A will go, and I know you're a little interested in a horse on the outside. That's number 8, Linny Kate, as she stretches back out in distance for her third try on the main track.
So this is Actuary the second. Here's Linny Kate getting into some trouble in her debut right there in that purple hat. She's going to be last now. This is not her debut in her last race, I should say. She's going 6 furlongs, and now we'll pick it up from the quarter pole. And she makes up some ground in here. She's inside. She was outside, and she winds up. This winds up being a useful race for her. And another horse that was her first time ever sprinting. All of her races had been in a mile on the turf. The one time she was on a main track was in the slop going 9 furlongs. So last time she's completely out of her element going to 3/4. And now she stretches back out. She comes off a little bit of a trip. Actuary did not do well.
No, he didn't.
On Friday.
No, he didn't.
So I'm kind of going back to that but we'll see. So I'm going to take her at a little bit of a price in here. Infringement coming out, so I had an infringement second. Infringement coming out, I think makes me a little bit more confident in Linny Kate. But with that said,
You're taking 2 kind of turf horses.
Yeah, I know.
Or, I mean, I should say you were taking 2 turf horses.
She's a little bit of a turf horse as well. But at the very least, I thought she had some trouble last time, and I don't think sprinting's her game. And her other race, that sloppy track race, it's not a great effort, but I don't know if 9 furlongs is what she wants to do. It was on a wet track. I don't know. She's going to be a little bit of a price too, so she won't be as good of a price now with infringement out, but.
Alpine Queen, I think she just has the best dirt form heading into here. She was wired last time in a slow pace behind Matula, and you know, Michelle's barn's doing great. She's done well. I mean, since she started training, exactly.
Great.
And we've seen, you know, an improvement with this filly whilst in her barn, and I just think she kind of sits the right trip in here. Freddie Mo Factor's likely, I think, to be used, I would think, used aggressively. If not, I don't know why is she in here. So that's, I mean, there was nobody else I was really, really intrigued by.
I thought Stormy Catley, listen, Gustavo Rodriguez's horses are all running.
Yeah, she gets class relief, and she gets
the blinkers
back out
come
to a
off.
mile.
And I think her races with blinkers, I don't think the blinkers really helped her at all.
No, it made really no difference in the way she was running.
Right? If anything, they may have slowed her down a little bit. So
Yeah.
maybe the blinkers coming off helps her cause. And I can't imagine she's going to be that price. But even if she's 7 or 8 to 1, I think she's worth another look in here.
All right. Well, that will do it for the. Oh, wait, are we?
We can keep going.
We can keep going. See, I get confused.
That's
yesterday
all
with
right.
the-
We
yesterday with
switched
the
it up all week.
graphics.
We
I
switched it
know.
up all week.
Get me guessing. Keep me on my toes.
Magony, it's okay.
Okay. Race number 5, maiden special weight for the fillies, bred in New York, a 2-year-old here, as we're going to 7 furlongs. And I thought there were horses that you wanted, mainly the ones that came out of the race in which Yokaz did, and then others that just don't look as though they can run on the dirt.
Yeah, this was.
With some first-time starters.
There's a race every day that has you licked. And unfortunately for me, this is the one because it's the crossroads race. Early pick 4, early pick 5, late pick 5, and the pick 6. So it's this. If there's a race you don't want to give you a headache, it's race 5 on the 9-race card. And guess what? Gave me a headache.
Yeah.
So.
As you said, this is the late pick 5 too. You went with I'll Go All In.
I took the 2
Why?
horses. Well, I ask myself that question sometimes, Maggie. Why? Why?
It's a legitimate question because her 2 dirt races are bad.
They're not good. It's kind of a barn play in here. Like I said, I had a little bit of an issue trying to navigate through this. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there were a couple of Temperamental was a little bit of a push to number 7 last time.
She took money.
She took a lot of money, but she didn't run. You know, now the blinkers, another furlong.
She just seemed uneducated. And she didn't do much running. I will give her that. I wish she showed a bit more.
Quite frankly, I took the 2 odd barns. I took the Juan Vasquez barn and I took the Mitch Friedman barn. That's what I did in here. I didn't have.
It's not easy, huh?
I didn't. No, it's not. It's not always that easy.
It's called horse racing now,
I'm very
not
well
trainer
aware.
racing.
I just didn't have a grip on the race, so I kind of defaulted to the guys who are winning right now.
I took a stab with Robbie Davis, Jackie Davis, and I can never say her name.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. She comes out of by far the best races with stakes winners in them. All of those races have stakes winners in them. Even Venti Valentine. I know she didn't do much running in the Maid of the Mist race. She did do a bit of running, albeit a slow figure in that first effort. Now, hopefully, the track remains fast. She comes back on a fast track again, in which she was wide early. She was kind of weaving in and out of horses, just ducking in, ducking out. And with the blinkers on, I'm hoping that engages her a little bit more to be forwardly placed. And also for the fact that I think the 7 furlongs might help her a little bit. And she's going to be a big price. So and 2, one that, with my observations, was just so green in both of her first 2 starts and has just progressively gotten a bit more professional. I think the blinkers will even help that cause a bit more.
Yeah, like I said, I'm certainly, this isn't a lean for me. I'm going to use a combination of 1, 3. I'm going to use Hava Nagila. Hava, the first for Dave Duggan, even though I don't love betting horses going 7/8 first time out.
This horse has some good works as well, which I like to see, and I always respect my friend Dave Duggan. Not that winning first time out is his MO, But
Right, but he doesn't run a lot of firsts. He's only run 7 firsters over the last 2 years, 2020, 2021. So it's not like he has.
guys, I'm very sorry. I again typed the wrong numbers. That's supposed to be 36117.
There you go.
36. I did use Hava. Nagila Hava?
Hava Nagila
What does
Hava.
that mean?
It's a Jewish song. It's when it's the wedding song.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine.
So yeah, I'm going to use a combination of 1, 3, 6.
So again, 36117 for me. No 5.
1, 3, 6, 9, 11.
All right.
That's what I'll be using in here.
Okay, I thought Kisses for Emily, it was a little bit interesting. Took money first time out, then took absolutely no money in that Sterling Silver race, Yo Cuz race, and showed speed.
With the blinkers on. Yeah.
There's not much other speed in here.
No, there's not. No, there's not.
So she could be interesting.
She could.
And a lot of times, as Andy likes to say, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. With these horses taking some money first time out. In the case of number 7, Temperamental as well.
Yeah, we'll see how both of those fillies react to. Third start for Kisses for Emily, and second start for Temperamental.
The 4 Over the Sand has a decent pedigree. She is a half to Stony Bennett, as well as Papa Smooth, who we've seen go 2 for 2 here at the Big A. Granted, both of them by Bustin' Stones, and this one by Overanalyze. So I thought the pedigree was a little interesting.
Sprint does there for Overanalyze. Got a couple of stakes coming up.
We do, but you'll have to wait after this break. We'll get to those stakes, the Gravesend and the Queens County, coming up here on Talking Horses. Stay tuned.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. The late pick 4 does kick off here in race number 6. A very good optional allowance for the fillies and mares are going the mile on the main track. And we do see, there's kind of, a lot of horses that are searching for this condition that have run good races and not so good races. And then there's good old Maiden Beauty.
Good old Maiden Beauty.
Who she tends to show up. She does have speed, which she looks like the speed here. And last time out, she was a part of a pace collapse. But before that, she did ride, what was a pretty good rail back on September 19th. But on the back end of that, she ran well in the Saratoga Dew for Rob Falcone. She's going to be tough in here, though we both have tried to be.
Where did this come from?
That was enhanced by the track.
Right. So if we're gonna attribute some of that performance to the racetrack, right? She still has figs that beat these horses, or at least makes her very competitive in here. But it's hard to really endorse her based on that. Now, she is supposed to be in front in here. I always worry, even though they look a little slower, would horses like Pioneer of the Sky come back in from these big lead wins and these blowout efforts? Now, I'm not saying she is fast enough, and it's Dylan Davis and Kendra Carmouche on these two fillies. But isn't she, at the very least, Pioneer of the Sky, supposed to attempt to go in here? At the very least, you're inside of Maiden Beauty. You've just had 2 blowout scores by being aggressive. I know she didn't go that fast.
No, she got blowout scores because she was meeting nothing.
I got it. But isn't she, at the very least, isn't there supposed to be a smidge of intent here? I don't know. That's what I saw, and maybe I'm nuts. I mean, they're mutually exclusive, I guess, too. But I would imagine Dylan's got to be a little aggressive with this filly today.
We'll see. Look, they're trying to protect. She's probably not that good. They paid over $1 million for her. She has that residual value as a broodmare. Fine. She didn't do much running over in France. She is the Dam's the greatest stakes winner, obviously Graham 6. That
was Todd, right?
That's what I thought too. Not Tom Amos.
Tom Amos. Oh, okay.
I think a Graham Hall, I think.
He had Todd had a Graham filly too.
Yeah. But anyway, so she's a hack to Seymour Deeney and Callie Starr, both of which stakes winners. So I think Kristoff is just, I think she does get exposed here. So we'll see how she does.
And I don't disagree with anything
No, but
you're saying.
she's a pace
She's
factor.
got to go.
She's a pace factor.
She's got to go.
I mean, really, she is probably just as fast early, at least in those two races. As I said, probably meeting inferior fields. As Maiden Beauty, I don't know. We'll see. We both went against at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You went to Amelia's Moon.
I was in a coin flip between Amelia's Moon and
Vegas
Weekend.
I
I thought Amelia's Moon, after the start was really weird. I probably should have showed the start last time.
They put her in
She
and just
loaded and
opened
sprung the latch. I'm not
She
even
was
going to hold
so
it against her.
not ready.
It
It
also,
wasn't her fault.
It was also first-time blinkers.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping now she has the blinkers. She has the start under her belt. I know our crew is not going to load and spring the latch.
Plus she's in the middle of
the
hack.
gate today.
Yeah.
Yes, that's going to help her cause as well, Maggie. It was almost like the Derby last time. It was like 20,
Go.
bing.
Yeah, there were only
Yeah.
5. And again, she's been wired in their last 2 efforts. And as you said, that probably doesn't happen today. And, furthermore, going to a race 2 back, she was restrained. I mean, she kind of got headstrong at the back behind what eventually materialized as a slow pace. Then Florent Drew sensed it was a slow pace, started moving up on the backside, going 3 to 4 wide. And so
He strangled
those
the two. It was a strangle.
Strangle for the first 3/8. Run up
Yeah.
into the slow pace and then
They
have
expected
nothing
they
left.
just expected to be endless horse underneath him. It was an awful ride 2 starts back.
Again, you
she
have
had
to
no
be
chance last time, and that
Secretariat
ultimately
to do that.
Yeah, and that ultimately is why I went to her over the 7 Vegas
I
weekend.
honestly, I did have a little bit of thought that we might get some more moisture in the track, which I thought would help Vegas Weekend. Coin flip between these 2 horses. I like both of them, but Vegas Weekend's better performances have come on wet tracks. And I thought last time, she wanted to going the 2 turns. And speaking of fighting a horse, that's what happened with her last time. And I think, I think she gets to sit that stalking trip that we saw her have 2 back at here at Aqueduct. Granted, she was not beating anybody that day, and the waters get so much deeper here. But I don't know. I think I just like her as a horse too. It's probably why I picked her.
No question about it. No question about it. I thought the 1 Hybrid Eclipse was a little interesting too. She gets her
I
LASIK.
can never warm up to her. She
gets
did no running last time.
I'm starting to think, Maggie, though. Look at her races without the LASIKs. I'm thinking the LASIKs might help her.
Well, and Linda really loves to run her out of town. She was entered in the Safely Kept
She
on
was.
November 27th and scratched.
Ran here last time.
Laura was having issues with the racetrack, so we're not going to hold that against her.
I wonder if I'm right and Pioneer of the Sky goes, and puts a little pressure on Maiden Beauty, if Hybrid Eclipse doesn't work out a little bit of a trip in here, and she could offer a little value in a race where, we talk about Amelia's Moon and Vegas Weekend. Are they the 2 most reliable types, really? Amelia's Moon hasn't won for 2.5 years. Vegas Weekend, obviously, I think it's pretty apparent she is a little bit better with some moisture in the ground. So if you're looking for a third alternative to the favorite, Hybrid Eclipse for me.
Race number 7, one of 2 stakes. It's the Gravesend, named for the racetrack that was very popular at the turn of the 20th century, but had to shut its doors when they enacted that law that outlawed gambling.
That silly
in
prohibition,
1910.
that silly prohibition thing.
Well, not liquor, but the gambling one, yeah.
The gambling one.
Thankfully,
Those people have some nerve.
I know. What the heck's wrong with them?
I don't
Anyway,
think people realize how many racetracks there were on Long Island.
there
Brooklyn
were
alone
3
had,
within a mile of each other in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn alone had Gravesend, Sheepshead Bay, and
I know I'm blanking too. I was just researching it this morning too.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Anyway, we've had the namesake, the stakes race, the Gravesend, for a while now. 100,000, big defection. Tweeted a couple days ago, wondered where Craig is, out. So that opens things up a little bit here, Anthony. And we both kind of saw this race the same way. You're a bigger fan of Chateau than I am, but he is loose here, as he typically is.
I'm going to give him one more chance. I promised a friend that I would not give him another chance. after his last.
You know what?
I promised a friend I would not give him another chance.
I always say
After
go with
this.
your gut instinct.
Promised my friend Andy, not Sterling, that I would not give Chateau another chance. But
You ran good, fine.
I mean, he kind of has to win that race last time, right?
Yeah.
He kind of has to win that race last time. But now, it's a similar, I mean, it's really, I mean, and there are 3 horses in this race, in Majestic Dunhill, Wendell Fong, and Drafted, that just have no speed. I mean, he's supposed to have a bigger pace advantage in here. I mean, Jackson Traveler is always close to the action, but he's another one. I mean,
But he's breaking from the rail. What is he supposed to do?
I
Doesn't
mean-
he have to go?
after, see, and now you start to,
But
you start to play
Chateau
the
is just
game.
wickedly fast.
Right.
Out
And
of the
here's
gate.
the other thing. If you're Jose Lezcano,
But he just had some he just has some stop in him.
if you're Jose Lezcano on Jackson
You
Traveler,
probably get out of there, let it Chateau clear, and come to the outside.
and you go back and watch that fall highway,
Yeah.
you got to be licking your chops, saying to yourself, "I'm just going to do exactly what you just said.
Exactly.
I'm going to let him clear me.
Yep.
I'm going to just go. I'm going to sit there, and it's not like it's a 10-horse field.
No.
He's got 3 horses behind him that have 0 speed. He can go around Chateau whenever he really wants.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't, you see, with that mentality, you would say to yourself, well, why doesn't he have the race 6-1? I don't trust Jackson Traveler because truth of the matter is, he's had some pretty cherry trips, and he just doesn't close the door as
And
often as he should.
the horse that he battled with in that race at Mahoning Valley, Baron, put him away, hung on, was going to win until this 56-1
Yeah,
shot
he'd be about
timeless bounty
$120
came
horse.
rolling like a freight train down the middle of the racetrack. So I was not thrilled with that latest
Me
effort from Jackson Traveler, and I feel like Drafted's been fairly unlucky. Now, as you mentioned, his lack of speed does hurt him here. But last time out, cost basis forward. Then, and he's chasing wide and he rallies. Then before that, Wonder Where Craig Is dominates on the front end, in which it was a track very kind to inside speed. He's on a 3-wide pursuit throughout. Then his first race back in October, he just gets completely shut off. So he's had excuses, but horses that consistently find trouble continue to find trouble. And
Agreed.
things to go
I
against
agree.
them.
And horses like
Yes,
him.
I'm taking him today. Sorry,
Horses
Dave.
li-
I'm piling on you.
Horses like him, who don't have speed, often contribute to their own trouble.
Right.
That's what happens. So, I mean, again, a 5-horse field should help his cause as well, but it's not like he hasn't gotten himself into some trouble in a 5-horse field.
know.
So,
I just feel like one of these days he's going to win, and I'm hoping it's today.
right. And obviously, like Maggie said with the scratch, I mean, that morning line is, you could, throw it in the waste paper basket because
Yeah, it's going
Wonder
to
Where
be
Craigers was 4 to 5, so.
a little more even. Majestic Dunhill coming back off the bench. He's a horse that has so much back class, but isn't it insane the amount of times that George Weaver found 7/8 races on the dirt to run him in?
Fantastic placing. Fantastic placing.
He's
And
a 7/8 horse. He
now
just gets
He's got to go
out-sprinted.
6. He's just out-sprinted. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's out-sprinted in a race with a fast horse and not a lot of speed to keep that fast horse company.
I'm glad to
That's
see him back
usually
at the
trouble.
races, though.
Yeah,
He's
me
a cool
too.
horse. As race number 8, it's the Queens County 1 1/8, around 2 turns here at the Big A. And look, we both kind of have the same 4 horses in here. As far as a pace scenario, I thought it was really murky. Do they get aggressive with Empty Tomb again? He wasn't that aggressively handled going longer in his latter half of 2021 races, and then suddenly they say, let's get aggressive, and it worked. So does Eric do that once again?
I absolutely think he does. You look at the May 22nd race at Churchill when he was aggressive and he won. You look at the race last time, he was aggressive and he won, and that's the reason I picked him today. there's
My
no
thing
speed
with
in here.
him, I think he's a better one-turn horse.
Yeah, and you're probably right. But if he is going to get a scenario that he's going to get the 2 turns, it's today. When he is faster around the 1 turn, which makes him faster around the 2 turns, and he's just supposed to, I mean, the only horse I thought could give him any kind of trouble early, is Ollie, my boy.
Yeah.
And if you take a long look at Ollie, my boy, and you think he's your biggest pace factor to break your chops, you got to feel pretty good about your chances.
Yeah.
If you like Empty Tomb today. So I thought it was him, and I thought it was Mystic Knight. I mean, Mystic Knight's the horse where if there was a more favorable pace scenario in here.
Well, Mystic Knight isn't that slow.
He's not.
He does have tactical speed. He's just one of those horses that just grinds and grinds and grinds.
He's better
away.
when he can have, like, he's better right here when he's got a loose on the lead, Yankee division, and he's able to just go and reel him in and grind. Like you said, Maggie, grind and grind and grind. This is what he wants. This pace
He's
scenario.
like the anti into mischief.
Yeah, this pace scenario today does not favor grind and grinding because he's supposed to have Empty Tomb loose on the lead in here, and
My thing is, he's been the beaten favorite in his last 3 starts since coming, I don't want to say back
he
off
hasn't
the
been
layoff,
he
but
has not been good in his last 2 races.
he kind of ran and stops and starts in his last race too at Keeneland because it looked like he was done going around the turn, and then suddenly he got back involved. But when he got back involved, he was in amongst horses and just never really had a clear path to kick on.
He lost ground closing weekend at Saratoga as well. He's another horse. A lot of space between his races, right? You see a few layoff lines. You see September 5th to October 23rd. You see October 23rd to December 19th. So, for a horse who, that they went 48-4. Yankee Division went 48-4. That's a pretty good time for 9 furlongs here at Aqueduct. That's what it took for him to reel him in, and then his last 3. So, yeah, he's probably one of the more talented horses in the race, but he does not have a favorable pace scenario, and it takes him an awful lot of time to get back, between starts. For yesterday's birthday boy, Chad Brown.
I went with You're to Blame. Last time we saw that Bo Luminare, who came back and ran 3rd behind Lone Rock and Thomas Shelby, who I feel as though they're kind of a good gauge for horses in this race. And You're to Blame has gotten close to them. Same with Mystic Knight. But, he kind of got the same trip as the winner, but he moved earlier, he moved wider too, and ended up 3rd, beaten 2 lengths. I just thought, I hope that Dylan Davis does keep him at least attached to the front runners here. Don't give him too much work to do because he just runs far better when you keep him close.
He should. I wonder how this board shakes out. Because the one horse that we haven't mentioned, and we're going to take a look at him winning the Wood Memorial at a gigantic price, is good old Bourbonic. Right, I'm still sticking to Bourbonic, but
first start against older company today.
Yeah, and the blinkers come off. His career kind of turned around when the blinkers went on, but he's another one. I mean, no speed. You see, he's still last here past the quarter pole, right to the 3/16 pole. He's last in our Wood Memorial here this past spring, and Kendrick Carmouche is going to keep on battling down the center of the track here, and he's going to get there at a gigantic price. Biggest price in the history of the Wood Memorial. I wonder how much money he takes today, because they're going to see, people are going to see that it is his first start against older, but they're going to also see Hot Rod Charlie and Essential Quality and Medina Spirit and Miles D littered in his PPs, and I think he's going to take some money today. Boy, I got to tell you, Maggie, competition-wise, it's not the toughest bunch of horses to face for the first time, but you want to talk about a horse that is compromised by the pace scenario in here. It is Bourbonic.
We'll see how he does against older company, and blinkers coming off. Todd Pletcher's looking for his 5th win in the Queens County, as we have one more race to get to. It's race number 9, the last race before we go on holiday break here at Aqueduct. We'll be back racing on December 30th.
Yes, Thursday, December 30th, we return.
Race number 9 is a maiden 40, going the mile for the older maidens in here, and I opted to go to Got the Gold. Blinkers off. At the end of the day, he is dropping back down to 40, which Chris Englehart took him from for. Maybe the argument could be made he's better shorter, but he on the race 3 back at a mile, he kind of went up to challenge for the lead, and then he was taken back, he lost position, and then he just kind of stayed on. I thought it wasn't the most tactically sound ride you could have asked for, but I like the fact that he's drawn outside as the blinkers come off. He should be staying close to the pace in which he does come out of those 2 sprints. I thought this horse getting a bit of class relief made a lot of sense. He's definitely not a turf horse, so I'm not going to hold that race totally against him either.
I want 2 9s and 13s. Thought Reunion Tour ran sneaky in his last 2. Let's see if he can do that on a fast track in the slop. Viking Zim.
I feel like he was supposed to win last time, though.
Viking Zim?
No, Reunion Tour.
Reunion Tour.
Well,
He
as
probably
well
was
as
supposed
Viking
to.
Zim.
Yeah.
I've had enough of Viking Zim.
That's fine. That's fine. It's one of those races where, right, I don't disagree. So I thought there were 2 batches, 2 9 and 13, and then 6 7 and 12. So that's how I'll attack the race. 2 9 and 13 is A's, and then the 6 7 and 12 is B minuses, I guess.
As far as like pedigrees with horses trying, there's 3 horses trying the dirt for the first time. Number 4, Mighty Meister, who also takes a drop in class. Wicked Strong, I think, better on the dirt.
Out of a City Zip mare, sure.
Yeah, she was good on the turf, Tish Meister, but she produced Irish Whisper, who was a very good dirt sprinter. That actually my husband trained, and we absolutely adored her. But anyway, I just thought, this horse could be effective on the surface change.
Okay.
All right, that'll do it for Anthony and I, right on time. So we have 30 minutes to the first race. But as always, if you want to play today's races, make sure you do so with a Naira Bets account. Sign up today. Use promo code bonus200. Check out nairabets.com for all the details. And 2, if you want to play Aqueduct, Fairgrounds, and Oaklawn, 3 of my favorite tracks, make sure you opt in and earn your $20 bonus, win or lose when you bet 50 at each of those tracks. And catch the action today on America's Day at the races on FS2. We will have Oaklawn as well. I think Caddo River coming back today at Oaklawn in an allowance race for Brad Cox, who is eclipsing the record set by Chad Brown for most money earned in a season.
Crazy.
Also, the jockeys race here for Naira for year end is very close. Irad's on top by 1 of his brother, and then Manny's 1 behind him. And Irad isn't here, so let's see who.
Irad's not anywhere right now.
This is also true. Well, thank you for joining us on Talking Horses. Chris Griffin on the mic for one more day. We will have John and Brielle back after the holiday break, but that's it. Chris, take it away for a reprise of Scratches and Changes.
Thank you very much, Big A and Maggie. 29 minutes away from the opener, race 1. The track is fast. Welcome to live racing here at Aqueduct. Here are today's Scratches and Changes. Race 1 started the early pick 5. Scratch number 3, Princess Ariana. Rider change on the 8, You Should Be Dancing, Manny Franco. Race 2, start of the early pick 4. Scratch the 1, OK Honey. The 1A, Lady by Choice, is 1 pound over. Scratch the 2, Violent Point. Scratch the 7, Hydra. Race 3, rider change on the 4, Making Sense, make it Jorge Vargas Jr. Race 4, start of the pick 6, scratch the 1, Infringement. In race 5, beginning of the late pick 5,